Hello everyone, my name is Moji, and you're watching Bitcoin Bubble News Channel. He's even ready to stand up and tell everyone that. That will be a point of view that has an effect on every government in the world, including the elite. People in Germany will look at that and think, well, if the US isn't going to sell its Bitcoin, then we must have been pretty stupid to sell our Bitcoin. I believe that is a huge step forward. A few spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds were allowed by the US Securities and Exchange Commission at the beginning of the year. This was the first time in 15 years that thousands of institutional investors could invest in the top cryptocurrency. This was a big deal for Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies and digital assets. It started a new talk about the role of cryptocurrencies in traditional investments. Bitcoin's price has stayed in the same range since March, when it hit $73,000. Investors are worried about what will happen next for the biggest cryptocurrency by market cap. M.Saylor, founder and executive chairman of MicroStrategy, says there is no need to worry because we are on track for the huge price hopes we all had at the beginning of the year in another famous fireside chat at the Bitcoin 2024 conference with Bill Miller IV. Saylor names 3 big events that, he says, will take Bitcoin right away from where it is now to where we all want it to be. Please see the video all the way through, share, like, follow, and turn on post notifications to get more videos like this. Your help makes YouTube's algorithm work better and the show do better. I mean, this is the week when 2 of the 3 candidates for president are running. Someone who used to be president is here, and they might be the next president. I agree with what Trump said. 10 senators, a lot of congressmen, governors, and a huge amount of media attention. I think this is a big deal. It's like a coming out party for Bitcoin. And it is. This is a very important week because they understand the community's political power. They also know that this is a technology that is important for the progress of the United States and for the whole world. So I believe this week is wonderful. Things are about to change. Let's talk about why this is a turning point before I tell you about the next set. This is a turning point because there is a deeper meaning going on here. That meaning is that Bitcoin is digital property. Bitcoin is property rights. Bitcoin is moral. Bitcoin is technically sound, Bitcoin is economically sound, and Bitcoin is a tool for economic freedom. And now the establishment agrees with you. Yes, we all knew it 4 years ago, but it wasn't clear that the elite did too. In 2020, the major news outlets didn't even talk about the business. This week, I think the public and the establishment around the world got a wake-up call that Bitcoin is here to stay. Bitcoin is the way of the future. Besides that, I guess the other thing I should say is that the speech we just heard was very important and historic. Yes, it's pretty important because Trump just said, we're not going to sell our Bitcoin if you don't sell your Bitcoin. People will know that you wouldn't say that about most of the money you got from criminals, right? In reality, if the US seized a car, a drug shipment, or a crate of foreign cash, if they took money, if they took your house, they would sell it, just like they would if they took your euros, art, or collectibles. Yes, of course that kind of land would be sold at auction. He said that the government will not sell Bitcoin, which makes it more valuable than any other property. As a first step, we need to agree that Bitcoin is property. And if it's property, you have the right to own it. The second thing is that this land is better than that one. I know what it is. The third thing we're going to do is make a national Bitcoin strategic reserve for the United States. That's very important. That's a big deal because Bitcoin went from being something bad, do you want to get rid of them, to something good, this is something we want to keep. I believe that what just happened is very important. I think it's great that Donald Trump knows that the Bitcoin community is full of smart, hardworking, creative, and motivated people, just like the people who made America great. He pretty much said that the people who made this country great. The Saylors are excited about the third rule change, getting rid of the SecSav 121 accounting rule. As a guide, the SEC put out Bulletin 121 in March 2022. It says that on their balance sheets, public companies must show how much digital assets are really worth. Of course, this is not how custodial assets are usually handled. These are his assets that are not on his bank sheet. SAB 121 tells banks and other financial institutions that they should list crypto as a loss on their balance sheets if they hold it for customers. These rules say that companies in centralized markets must tell everyone what kind and amount of crypto they hold for their customers. Investors in cryptocurrencies don't like the accounting rule because it means that regulated banks can't hold digital assets for their very rich clients. Saylor thinks that this must happen before big tech companies like Google and Apple will start to buy Bitcoin and hold it as a backup asset. The head of MicroStrategy told Miller that tens of billions of dollars will regularly come into Bitcoin once this last piece of the puzzle is put together. Here are some more parts of the talk. The first step is to make it official and accept it as an asset of institutional grade. In the securities business, this means fair rules for the asset itself. With the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF in January, we got the first part of that. It was only partly done, though. An unfinished rule because the SEC still doesn't allow the creation of ETF shares in kind. The CC still won't let people trade options on top of spot Bitcoin ETF shares. And the acceptance was given with bad feelings. In the end, I did it because I had to, but I didn't enjoy it. Well, what does that really mean? The negative views that were voiced when the approval was given cast a shadow over many popular investors. From having a negative view, we need to change it to any opinion. As an example, why doesn't a government regulator say whether this asset is better or worse than that asset? I believe that needs to still change. If I want to put Bitcoin into or take Bitcoin out of an ETF, I think that the lack of in-kind makes a redemption, which means that it's a taxable event. This means that if you buy an ETF and a 10x and then want to take your Bitcoin out of self-custody, you will be charged 30% of the Bitcoin. People who want to move Bitcoin from an ETF to a bank or another administrator are charged as if they sold it, even though they didn't. Because of this, there is a tax waste right now, which is bad. In a previous keynote speech at the meeting, M.Saylor predicted that Bitcoin would reach a very high price. The top cryptocurrency's macro forecast for 2045 was given by M.Saylor. It included a base case, a bull case, and a bear case. For every 21 years, M.Saylor thinks the price of a Bitcoin coin will go up by at least $4,300, from $68,000 to $3 million. That's the worst thing that could happen to the most popular coin. When it comes to Bitcoin, M.Saylor's base case is that it goes up to $13 million by 2045. This is a 19,000% increase in price from now. The market value of Bitcoin will go up to $280 trillion. That's 280 times more than its market value of $1.3 trillion right now. The M.Saylor bull case is even more hopeful. It says that by 2045, Bitcoin will be worth $49 million. All cryptocurrencies will be worth more than $1 quadrillion at this point. Tell us what you think about the M.Saylor statements about Bitcoin in the space below. If you want to see more films like this, make sure you follow the channel and turn on post alerts.